Good morning, everybody. I'm just putting the finishing touches to this little basket. It was just sitting at the end of the veranda, and I had been growing these hyacinths on in little pots outside the back door. Now the basket's got quite wet, so I'm going to leave it to dry out a wee bit. But I've put the hyacinths, 6 in total, into the basket. I've obviously filled it with some potting compost first, and I've just been around picking up this moss because, as you know, the west of Ireland being a very damp climate, the moss grows everywhere. So it's a wonderful resource. It's free, and it does need to be picked off some of the stones because it just grows over everything. So anyway, this is the basket, almost finished. I might put a few little baubles in there as well, simply because it's going to be in the cottage for midwinter, the solstice. So I'll do a little bit more now. Look, I've got my little gloves on just to protect my hands. Do you know, I was going to add things to it, but I really like the look of it like it is. It's just so natural. So I finished putting the moss on it, and I think as it dries out, you know, you're going to get a nice revealing of the texture of the basket, which is quite old now, but it's still in good use. Now I've also been potting up some little trees that I pulled up on one of my walks. These are little Scots pines. So I've got 4 in that window box, and I've got one big one in here. I'll see how they go on throughout the winter. I think they'll be worth growing on come the spring. And in those 2 pots there, I have bulbs. Don't ask me what kind of bulbs. I just mix them all up and put them all in. Probably go against all the rules, but it all seems to work out for me in the end. Now I've got another couple of little trees in here. I just can't resist pulling up the little straggly seedlings when I'm on my walks, because I know they don't stand a chance anywhere else. Anyway, I want to show you some of the moss, and look how easy it is just to pull off. Look, you see, we've got big chunks of it like that. So it actually does need to be pulled off. Look, it's between the plants here, and there's just masses and masses of it. Thought I'd show you that. All these things for free. That's what I'd like to add to this little video. That, you know, you have this Christmas festivity period coming up, and everyone's strapped for cash and probably racking their brains as to how they're going to get through, and, you know, give little gifts to neighbours and whatnot. Well, you know, I'd be delighted if someone gave me a gift of some hyacinths in a basket like that. I mean, what would you pay for that down at the flower shop? What would you pay for an arrangement like that? I think you're looking at about €30, maybe more. So look out all those little baskets, all those little containers that you'd otherwise throw out. You can just take plastic containers and put holes in the bottom for drainage and wrap them round with some nice paper or some, you know, you could even glue on some moss. The ideas and the possibilities are endless, let's face it. So you could also pot up some little bulbs like I've done here in these pots. You could just gift wrap them up and way to go. Or you could pot up some plants. There's lots and lots of plants around which need dividing up. So you could do that. You know, it's only limited by your own imagination, let's face it. And this is just one aspect of gift giving. What about all the things you can make as well indoors, if you're good at sewing or knitting or crocheting or baking? I will be baking some biscuits with my grandchildren and using lovely little Christmas cutters like star cutters and Santa Claus cutters and snowmen cutters to cut them out, and we'll be putting icing on them, and we'll be putting a few sprinkles on them and putting them into little bags, little cellophane bags, and tying them up with ribbon. How's that for an idea? I've done it many, many times before because my grandchildren, my eldest grandchild is 25 and my youngest grandchild is almost 5. So you can imagine how many years I've been doing this. And it's great fun. Who wants to go pushing and pulling your way through shops and endless overheated stores and crowds of people when you can be doing lovely things at home and really getting into the vibe? For me, of course, it's the vibe of midwinter and the solstice and Yule. But for some of my grandchildren, it's Christmas, and, you know, whatever that vibe is, it's celebratory. Yeah? Go for it. It's only limited by your own imagination. Oops. I've got to put this in quickly because otherwise my daughter's going to thrash my reputation. My youngest grandchild is coming up to 1 year old. Okay, but I was actually thinking, you see, in terms of the grandchildren who I could take into the kitchen and do this biscuit making with. So sorry about that. My youngest is almost 1 year old. So I think they go in age from 1, 4, almost 5, another 4, almost 5, I think. 6. I'm terrible on trying to remember the ages. What a flipping grandmother I am, eh? And then there's this huge gap, and then there's 24 and 25, who I don't think are going to be joining me in the kitchen to bake biscuits, but they have done in the past and they've loved it. So happy days. My basket. Well, just before I go, I want to give a big shout out to Timon. Hi Timon, hope you're well. I also wanted to add that there are calendars for sale and they're on the website, and if you go to the information underneath this video, you'll find it there. A little view of Old Cottage when I first bought the cottage, and this was the land looking up from the road and the land looking down from the cottage. Blessings to you all.